At Christmas, my daughter-in-law handed me a bucket with a cloth in front of the whole family. My son said, "You eat for free, so start cleaning." That night, I packed my bags and disappeared, but I left a message. When they read the note, 32, missed calls. Hold on a moment before we move forward. Let us know where in the world you're watching from. And if you're loving these stories, don't forget to hit subscribe. Tomorrow's episode is going to be absolutely mind-blowing. The bucket was yellow. Cheap plastic. The kind you buy at Dollar General for $12. $99. I know because the price sticker was still on it, half-peeled, sticky residue catching the light from the Christmas tree. Inside sat a damp cloth that smelled like mildew and dish soap. Vanessa held it out to me with both hands, like she was presenting a gift. "Patty," she said, her voice loud enough to carry across the living room, "since you're here, you might as well make yourself useful." I stood there holding a plate of sugar cookies I'd baked that morning. 4 dozen, the recipe my mother taught me in 1970. I'd been up since 5 a.m. mixing dough, cutting shapes, decorating each one by hand. The kitchen at Evelyn's house, where I'd been staying since Frank died, was small, and my arthritis made the work slow, but I wanted to bring something nice for the grandkids. Ryan, my son, looked up from his phone. He was sitting on the couch next to Vanessa, his arm draped over the back cushion behind her shoulders. He glanced at the bucket, then at me, and something flickered across his face. Not quite embarrassment, more like annoyance that I hadn't moved yet. "Mom," he said, his tone flat, "you eat for free here. The least you can do is help out." The room went quiet. 15 people, all family, all watching. Ryan's Uncle Gary sat in the recliner by the window, a beer in his hand. He snorted, then turned it into a cough. My sister-in-law, Ruth, Gary's wife, covered her mouth, but I saw the smile. The kids, Chloe and Mason, sat cross-legged on the floor by the fireplace. Chloe was 12, old enough to understand what was happening. She stared at her hands. Mason, 9, looked confused, his eyes darting between me and his mother. I set the plate of cookies down on the coffee table. No one reached for them. "You want me to clean?" I said. It wasn't a question. "The kitchen's a disaster," Vanessa said, shaking the bucket slightly. "And the bathrooms could use some work too. We've all been so busy with the meal, and you just got here, so..." I'd arrived at 4 p.m., same as I did every Christmas for the past 4 years since Frank died. Before that, Frank and I hosted 23 Christmases in our house on Maple Street, the one with the blue shutters and the magnolia tree in the front yard. We sold it after Frank's first heart attack in 2018, moved into a smaller place. He died a year later, 66 years old. I was 61. Ryan and Vanessa bought this house in 2020. 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, new construction in a development north of Columbus. I gave them $40,000 for the down payment. Vanessa said they needed to be in a good school district for the kids. I took it out of the life insurance money Frank left me. Ryan cried when I handed him the check. He said, "Mom, I'll pay you back, I swear." I never asked him to. He was my son. That's what mothers do. "Go on, Patty," Gary said from the recliner. He tilted his beer toward the kitchen. "Dishes won't wash themselves." Ruth laughed. An actual laugh, high and sharp. I looked at Ryan. His face had that blank expression he got when he didn't want to deal with something. The same look he had when Vanessa announced they were buying a new SUV last year, even though their old car ran fine. The same look when she booked a vacation to Cancun and charged it to a credit card I didn't know they had. "Ryan," I said quietly. He shifted his weight, pulling his arm off the back of the couch. "Mom, it's not a big deal. Just help out a little. Everyone else has been working all day." I'd been working all day too. The cookies. The gifts I'd bought for the kids, wrapped in paper I found on clearance at Walgreens, because my Social Security check only stretched so far. The new shirt I'd bought for Ryan because Vanessa mentioned he needed one for work, $43 at Kohl's. It was in a gift bag by the front door with a card I'd written by hand. Vanessa stood up, still holding the bucket. She walked over and set it down at my feet. The cloth flopped over the side, leaving a wet spot on the carpet. There, she said. Now you don't have an excuse. I bent down and picked up the bucket. The handle was cracked, held together with duct tape. I straightened up and looked at my son one more time. He was scrolling through his phone again. Chloe had gotten up and left the room. Mason was staring at me with wide eyes. Okay, I said. I carried the bucket into the kitchen. The sink was full of dishes, pots, and pans stacked in a greasy pile. Wrapping paper and ribbons covered the counters. Someone had spilled gravy on the stove and hadn't wiped it up. I set the bucket down and turned on the faucet. The water ran hot, steam rising, fogging up the window over the sink. Behind me, I heard Gary say something and Ruth laugh again. Ryan's voice joined in, low and agreeable. Vanessa turned on the television. A football game. Loud announcers and the roar of a crowd. I washed dishes for an hour. My hands cramped. My back ached. When I finished, I wiped down the counters, swept the floor, took out the trash. I walked back into the living room. No one looked up. Vanessa was on her phone, scrolling. Ryan had fallen asleep on the couch, his head tilted back, mouth open. The kids were playing a video game in the basement, the sound of explosions echoing up the stairs. I picked up my purse from the chair by the door. I put on my coat, the wool one Frank bought me for our last anniversary. It was too big now. I'd lost weight since he died. Grief does that. I walked upstairs to the guest room where I kept a few things. A change of clothes, toiletries. I'd been staying here 3 nights a week to watch the kids while Vanessa worked late, or said she worked late. I pulled my small suitcase out from under the bed and started folding clothes. My hands were shaking. I thought about Frank. What he would say if he could see this. He'd always been protective, sometimes too much. He would have said something tonight. He would have stood up, but Frank was gone, and I was alone, and my son had just told me I eat for free. $53,000. That's what I'd given Ryan and Vanessa over the past 4 years. I kept the receipts in a shoebox at Evelyn's house. Utility bills I'd paid when they said they were short. School tuition for Chloe's private middle school. The emergency room visit when Mason broke his arm. The new furnace last winter. The cruise Vanessa wanted for their anniversary. Every time Ryan said, "Just this once, Mom. We'll get back on our feet." I zipped up the suitcase. I looked around the room. There was a picture on the dresser, me and Frank on our wedding day in 1978. I was 20 years old. He was 23. We were standing in front of Holy Rosary Church in Cincinnati, my dress borrowed from my cousin, his suit rented. We looked so young, so sure that everything would work out. I picked up the frame and put it in my purse. Downstairs, the house was quiet now. The football game was over. I could hear Vanessa's voice in the kitchen, talking to someone on the phone. Ryan was still asleep. I walked past him without stopping. I opened the front door. Cold air hit me, sharp and clean. It was 11:30 p.m., Christmas night. I pulled a piece of paper from my purse, a grocery list I'd written earlier that week. I flipped it over and wrote on the back with the pen I always kept clipped to the inside pocket. My handwriting was shaky, but clear enough. Merry Christmas. You win. I left the note on the kitchen table, right next to the plate of sugar cookies no one had touched. Then I walked out the front door, got into my old Honda, and drove away. The roads were empty. Salt trucks had been through earlier, leaving white streaks on the asphalt. I drove to Evelyn's house on the east side of Columbus, 20 minutes in light traffic. She'd left the porch light on for me. I parked in the driveway and sat there for a while, engine running, heat blowing. My phone was in my purse. I didn't check it. Inside, Evelyn was awake, sitting in her recliner with a book. She looked up when I came in, took one look at my face, and set the book down. "What happened?" she asked. I told her. She didn't say anything for a long time. Then she got up, walked to the kitchen, and came back with 2 glasses of wine. She handed me one. "They'll call," she said. "I know." We sat there in the quiet, sipping wine. The Christmas tree in the corner blinked red and green. Outside, snow started to fall. My phone buzzed once in my purse. Then again. Then it didn't stop. I woke up on Evelyn's couch with my phone vibrating on the coffee table. The screen lit up over and over. 32 missed calls, 17 text messages. It was 7 a.m., December 26th. The first call had come at 2:15 a.m., 3 hours after I left. Ryan, then Vanessa at 2:40, Gary at 6:30, which surprised me because Gary never woke up before 9. Then Ryan again, 4 more times. Vanessa twice. A number I didn't recognize. Ruth, Ryan, Vanessa, Ryan. I sat up slowly. My back hurt from sleeping on the couch. Evelyn had offered me the guest room, but I told her I was fine. I wasn't fine. I felt hollow, like someone had scooped out my insides and left nothing but the shell. Evelyn came down the stairs in her bathrobe, her gray hair pulled back in a clip. She looked at me, then at my phone still buzzing on the table. "You going to answer that?" she asked. "No." She nodded and went into the kitchen. I heard the coffee maker start, the familiar gurgle and hiss. A few minutes later, she brought me a mug, black with 2 sugars, the way I've taken it since 1975. "You should look at Instagram," she said. "I don't have Instagram." "I do." She handed me her phone. Vanessa's account was public. The post was from 1 a.m., an hour after I'd left. A photo of the living room, the Christmas tree lit up in the background, Ryan and the kids on the couch looking somber. The caption read, "Heartbroken tonight. Some people choose to abandon family on Christmas, praying for healing and understanding. Family first, Christmas, sadness. Pray for us 4,000 likes, 300 comments. I scrolled through them. Most were supportive of Vanessa. So sorry you're going through this. Family should stick together. Sending prayers. A few asked what happened. Vanessa had replied to those. Just a difficult situation with Ryan's mom. We're trying to be patient and understanding. My hand started shaking. I handed the phone back to Evelyn. She made me the villain, I said. Of course she did. Evelyn set her phone down and sat next to me. What are you going to do? I didn't know. I sipped my coffee and stared at the Christmas tree in the corner. Evelyn had put it up 2 weeks ago, a small artificial one with white lights. Simple, tasteful. Not like the massive tree at Ryan's house with the expensive ornaments Vanessa ordered from Pottery Barn. I'd seen the credit card statement once, left on the counter, $873 for decorations. That was in 2021, the first Christmas after Frank died. I'd just sold our house and moved into a small apartment on the south side. 1 bedroom, narrow kitchen, a bathroom with a shower that never got hot enough. The landlord was a man named Ed, who wore the same flannel shirt every time I saw him. He raised the rent twice in 2 years. By 2023, I was paying $900 a month for 400 square feet. Ryan called me that December and said they were struggling. Vanessa's real estate commissions were down. They'd overextended on the house. Could I help with the mortgage just for a few months? I sent $1,400, then $1,400 the next month, and the next, it became automatic. They never asked me to stop, so I didn't. I picked up extra shifts at the grocery store where I worked part-time bagging groceries. Minimum wage, 10 hours a week. My Social Security was $1,200 a month. The mortgage payment, the rent, groceries, utilities. I stopped buying new clothes. I stopped going to the hair salon. I learned to cut my own hair in the bathroom mirror, uneven and choppy, but it saved $35 every 6 weeks. In 2022, Mason needed surgery, appendicitis. The insurance covered most of it, but there was a deductible, $12,000. Ryan called me crying. I didn't have $12,000. I had Frank's car, a 2015 Toyota Camry with 60,000 miles on it. Silver, clean interior, Frank had washed it every Sunday. I sold it to a dealership for $6,200. Ryan said he'd pay me back. I took a bus to work after that. 40 minutes each way, standing in the cold waiting at the stop on Route 33. Evelyn refilled my coffee. You kept receipts, right? In a shoebox under my bed. Get them. I went upstairs to the guest room and pulled the shoebox out. Inside were bank statements, printed emails, receipts I'd stuffed in over the years. I spread them out on Evelyn's dining room table. Utility bills with my handwriting in the memo line, for Ryan and Vanessa, tuition payments for Chloe's school, medical bills, a receipt from Best Buy for a laptop Vanessa said she needed for work, $700, a Visa statement showing a charge to a cruise line, $3,400. I'd paid that one in installments over 6 months. Evelyn sat across from me, reading through the papers. She didn't say anything for a long time. Then she picked up a bank statement from January 2024 and pointed to a line. "What's this?" It was a withdrawal, $8,500 dated January 2nd, 4 days ago. I stared at it, confused. "I didn't withdraw that," I said. Evelyn flipped through more statements. "Patty, look, same thing in November, $7,200, and October, $6,300. My stomach dropped. I grabbed the statements and looked closer. All withdrawals, all from my account, all amounts I didn't recognize. "How is this possible?" I asked. Evelyn leaned back in her chair. "Does anyone else have access to your account?" I thought about it. Ryan had my debit card number. I'd given it to him years ago in case of emergencies. He'd used it a few times with my permission, small things, groceries when they were short. But I'd never authorized these amounts. "I need to call the bank," I said. I called. Waited on hold for 15 minutes listening to elevator music. Finally, a woman named Teresa came on the line. I explained the situation. She put me on hold again. When she came back, her voice was careful. "Mrs. Brennan, those withdrawals were made using your debit card at ATMs in Columbus. The PIN was entered correctly each time. I didn't make them. Do you know anyone who might have access to your card and PIN?" I felt sick. "My son." Teresa was quiet for a moment. "I'm sorry, Mrs. Brennan. If the PIN was used, the bank considers it authorized. You'll need to file a police report for fraud." I hung up. Evelyn was watching me. "Ryan took the money," I said. "Or Vanessa," Evelyn said. "Probably Vanessa." I thought about the Instagram post, the carefully staged photo, the victim narrative. Vanessa was good at this. She'd been doing it for years, subtle things I'd missed or ignored. The comments about my clothes being outdated. The way she'd rearrange plans without telling me, then act surprised when I showed up at the wrong time. The Christmas 2 years ago when she'd seated me at the kids' table during dinner, said it was a mix-up, but never corrected it. My phone buzzed again. "Ryan." I let it go to voicemail. A minute later, a text came through. "Mom, please call me. We need to talk. This is getting out of hand. Out of hand. Like I was the problem. Like I'd done something wrong." I picked up another receipt from the pile. Mason's surgery. I remembered the day Ryan called me about it. He'd been frantic. Said they didn't have the money. Mason was in pain. I sold Frank's car the next morning. Took the bus to the dealership, signed the papers, deposited the check. Transferred it to Ryan's account that afternoon. Vanessa had posted about Mason's recovery on Instagram. A photo of him in the hospital bed. Thumbs up, big smile. The caption, "So grateful for modern medicine and amazing doctors. Our strong boy is on the mend." No mention of who paid for it. "I need to see a lawyer," I said. Evelyn nodded. "I know someone, Rebecca Marsh. She handles elder law, estate stuff. I'll call her." While Evelyn made the call, I went back through the shoebox. At the bottom, under a stack of old birthday cards from the kids, I found something I'd forgotten about. The title to Frank's car. I'd kept it after the sale, meant to file it away properly, but never did. I unfolded it. Frank's name was on the front, signed over to me after he died. On the back, in the transfer section, was my signature. Except it wasn't my signature. It was close, but the loops were wrong. The slant was too steep. Someone had forged it. Below my fake signature was another name, Vanessa Brennan. I stared at it. The date of transfer was March 15th, 2023, almost 2 years ago. I'd sold the car in September 2022, given the money to Ryan. But according to this title, Vanessa had transferred ownership to herself 7 months later and sold it again. $8,500, the same amount as the withdrawal on my bank statement from 4 days ago. Evelyn came back into the room. I held up the title. "She sold my car twice," I said. Evelyn took the paper, read it, and her face went hard. That's fraud, Patty. That's a crime. My phone buzzed. Another text from Ryan. Mom, Vanessa's upset. She says you're spreading lies about her. Just come back and we'll talk. I set the phone down. My hands weren't shaking anymore. I felt cold, clear, like the fog had lifted and I could finally see the path in front of me. Call your lawyer friend, I said. I want to file a police report. Evelyn smiled. Now you're talking. Rebecca Marsh's office was on the third floor of a brick building downtown, above a nail salon and a tax preparation service. The waiting room smelled like old carpet and lemon cleaner. I sat in a chair by the window, watching traffic crawl past on High Street. It was January 2nd, 8 days after Christmas. Evelyn had called ahead, explained the situation. Rebecca agreed to see me that afternoon. She was younger than I expected, maybe 45, with dark hair pulled into a bun and glasses that kept sliding down her nose. She shook my hand and led me into her office. Tell me everything, she said. I laid it out. The bucket, the Instagram post, the money disappearing from my account, the forged signature on the car title. I showed her the shoebox full of receipts, the bank statements, the title itself with Vanessa's name scrawled below my fake signature. Rebecca went through the papers methodically, making notes on a yellow legal pad. She didn't react much, just nodded occasionally, circled things with her pen. When she finished, she took off her glasses and rubbed her eyes. Mrs. Brennan, this is financial exploitation, she said. It's also fraud, forgery, potentially theft. You have grounds for criminal charges and a civil lawsuit. Against Vanessa, I said. Against whoever committed the acts. If your son knew about it, he's complicit. My chest tightened. Ryan wouldn't. Rebecca held up a hand. I'm not saying he did. I'm saying the law doesn't care about your relationship to the perpetrator. If he knew, he's liable. If he helped, he's guilty. I thought about Ryan on Christmas night, scrolling through his phone while I scrubbed dishes. The blank expression on his face when Vanessa handed me the bucket. He'd looked uncomfortable, maybe, but not shocked, not outraged, like this was just another Tuesday. What happens if I press charges? I asked. You file a police report. They investigate. If there's enough evidence, the prosecutor decides whether to file criminal charges. That's fraud, forgery, theft by deception. Vanessa could face jail time. And Ryan? Depends on what the investigation turns up. Rebecca leaned forward. But here's the thing, Mrs. Brennan. You have 90 days from the date you discovered the fraud to take action. After that, the statute of limitations complicates things. Today is January 2nd. That means you have until early April. 90 days. 3 months to decide whether to destroy my son's life. Rebecca wasn't finished. She pulled out another document, something she'd printed earlier. I ran a property search on the address you gave me. The house your son and daughter-in-law live in. What about it? It's still in your name. I stared at her. That's not possible. I signed it over to them in 2021. Rebecca slid the document across the desk. It was a property record from the Franklin County Auditor's Office. Owner, Patricia Brennan. Purchase date, August 2020. Last transfer, none. You signed a quitclaim deed? Rebecca asked. Yes. Ryan brought it to me, said it was for estate planning to avoid probate. I signed it in front of a notary at the bank. Was it recorded? I didn't know what that meant. Rebecca saw the confusion on my face and explained. After you sign a deed, it has to be filed with the county recorder's office to be official. If it wasn't recorded, the transfer never happened. Legally, you still own the house. My head was spinning. Why wouldn't they record it? Rebecca shrugged. Forgot, maybe. Or didn't want to. If your name is on the property, they can't sell it without your signature. They can't refinance. They can't do anything. But I've been paying their mortgage, I said. You've been paying the mortgage on your own house, Rebecca corrected. Which means you have every legal right to live there, to control it, to evict anyone currently residing there without your permission. I felt like the floor had dropped out from under me. Evict Ryan? If you choose to. Mrs. Brennan, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you what your options are. She tapped her pen against the desk. But there's something else you should know. I pulled the mortgage records. They're behind on payments. 2 months overdue. If they miss another one, the bank starts foreclosure proceedings. How is that possible? I've been sending money every month. Rebecca flipped through the papers. The last payment the bank received was in October. November and December, nothing. I thought about the withdrawals on my bank statements. The $8,500 in January, $7,000 in November, $6,000 in October. Vanessa hadn't been paying the mortgage. She'd been taking my money and spending it somewhere else. Where did it go? I asked. Rebecca shook her head. That's what you'd need to find out. Credit cards, maybe. Vacations. Shopping. People like this, they justify it to themselves. They think they deserve it. I sat back in the chair. The room felt too small, too warm. I pulled at the collar of my sweater. What should I do? That's your decision, Rebecca said. But here's my advice. You have leverage right now. The house is yours. The fraud is documented. You can either use that leverage to negotiate, or you can go full legal and take everything. But you need to decide soon, because the clock is ticking. I left her office with a stack of papers and a sick feeling in my stomach. Evelyn was waiting for me in the parking lot, sitting in her car with the heater running. I got in and told her everything. So the house is yours, Evelyn said. Apparently. And Vanessa forged your signature, stole your money, and lied to everyone. Yes. Evelyn turned to look at me. What are you waiting for? Kick them out. Press charges. Take back what's yours. Ryan's my son, I said. Ryan let his wife humiliate you on Christmas. Ryan took your money and said nothing. Ryan is a grown man who made his choices. I knew she was right, but knowing didn't make it easier. I thought about Ryan at 6 years old, crying in my arms after he fell off his bike and scraped his knee. Ryan at 16, so proud when he got his driver's license. Ryan at 28, asking me to walk him down the aisle at his wedding because Frank was in the hospital recovering from his first heart attack. I need time, I said. Evelyn sighed. You have 90 days. Don't waste them. That night I couldn't sleep. I lay in Evelyn's guest bed staring at the ceiling. My phone was on the nightstand, silent. Ryan had stopped calling 2 days ago. Vanessa had posted again on Instagram, a photo of her and the kids at a trampoline park. The caption, "Making memories despite the hard times." 5,000 likes. I got up and went downstairs. Evelyn was still awake, watching an old movie on TV. I sat next to her on the couch. I keep thinking about the bucket, I said. Evelyn muted the TV. What about it? It was cheap, $12. She didn't even take the sticker off. I laughed, but it came out bitter. That's what I'm worth to her, $12. You're worth a lot more than that to me, Evelyn said. Am I? I looked at her. I gave them everything, $53,000, 4 years of my life. I sold Frank's car. I worked extra shifts. I ate ramen noodles for dinner so I could send them money. And for what? Evelyn took my hand. You did it because you loved them. That's not wrong. It feels wrong now. That's because they betrayed you. But that doesn't mean you were wrong to love them. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to think that all those sacrifices meant something, that the years of giving and giving weren't just wasted. But sitting there in the dark, watching the muted TV flicker, I felt hollow. My phone buzzed. A text from a number I didn't recognize. Mrs. Brennan, this is Rebecca Marsh. Forgot to mention something earlier. If the mortgage goes into foreclosure, the bank will come after you as the property owner. You'll be responsible for the debt. Just wanted you to be aware. Call me if you have questions. I read it twice. Then I showed it to Evelyn. You have to stop the payments, she said. If they're not paying the mortgage anyway, why are you funding their lifestyle? Because Ryan will lose the house. Ryan already lost the house. He just doesn't know it yet. Evelyn squeezed my hand. Patty, listen to me. You can't save him from this. He did this to himself. All you can do is protect yourself. I thought about the bucket, the Instagram post, the forged signature, the The missing money. $53,000. Gone. Frank's car, sold twice. My savings, drained. My son, silent. Okay, I said. I'll stop the payments. Evelyn smiled. Good. Now let's see what happens when they realize the free ride is over. I called the bank on January 5th. A Monday morning, cold and gray outside. Evelyn had gone to the grocery store. I sat at her kitchen table with my phone and the mortgage account number I'd written on a sticky note years ago. The automated system put me through to a representative named Michael. I explained that I wanted to stop the automatic payments from my account. Can I ask why you're canceling, Mrs. Brennan? I don't need to explain, I said. Just stop the payments. There was typing on his end. Okay, done. Your next scheduled payment on February 1st has been canceled. Is there anything else I can help you with today? No, thank you. I hung up and sat there looking at my phone. It felt anticlimactic. 4 years of payments ended with a 2-minute phone call. I thought I'd feel guilty. Instead, I felt light. Like I'd been carrying something heavy and finally set it down. Evelyn came home an hour later with bags of groceries. She started unpacking them, putting cans in the cupboard, milk in the fridge. She didn't ask if I'd made the call. She knew. Now we wait, she said. We didn't wait long. 5 days later, January 10th, my phone rang. Ryan. I let it go to voicemail. He called again. Then again. On the 4th call, I answered. Mom. His voice was tight, panicked. What did you do? Good morning to you too. The bank called. They said the mortgage payment was rejected. They said if we don't pay by February 5th, they're starting foreclosure. I didn't say anything. Mom, are you there? I'm here. Why would you do this? His voice cracked. This is our house. The kids live here. You're going to make them homeless? Ryan, that house is in my name. I've been paying the mortgage for 2 years. You told me it was temporary. You said you'd get back on your feet. We are on our feet. Things are better now. Vanessa's commissions are up. We were about to start paying you back. When? When were you going to pay me back? I kept my voice level. Because I have receipts showing $53,000 I've given you since 2020. I haven't seen a single payment. Silence on his end. Then, I didn't know it was that much. You didn't want to know. More silence. I could hear Vanessa in the background, her voice sharp and angry. Ryan covered the phone, but I caught pieces. Your mother. Crazy. Trying to ruin us. Ryan came back on the line. Mom, please, just make the payment. We'll figure something out, I promise. No. What do you mean, no? I mean, I'm not paying your mortgage anymore. I'm not paying your bills. I'm not giving you another dollar. You can't do this. His voice rose. You can't just cut us off. We have kids. We have responsibilities. So do I. And my responsibility right now is to take care of myself. I hung up. My hands were shaking, but not from fear. From something else. Anger, maybe. Or relief. 2 hours later, Ryan showed up at Evelyn's house. I watched him through the front window, getting out of his SUV, the same one Vanessa had insisted they needed last year. $48,000. I'd co-signed the loan because their credit wasn't good enough. Evelyn opened the door before he could knock. Ryan. I need to talk to my mother. She doesn't want to talk to you. She's my mother. He tried to push past her, but Evelyn didn't move. She was 71 but solid, strong from years of gardening and stubbornness. And she's my guest, Evelyn said. You don't get to come here and make demands. I came to the door. It's okay, Evelyn. She stepped aside but stayed close. Ryan looked awful. Unshaven, hair messy, dark circles under his eyes. He'd lost weight. His shirt hung loose on his shoulders. Mom, he said, please, can we just talk? I led him into the living room. Evelyn stayed in the doorway, arms crossed. Ryan sat on the edge of the couch. I took the armchair across from him. You can't let them take the house, he said. I'm not letting anyone do anything. You stopped paying the mortgage. That's on you. We were using the money for other things, important things. Like what? He looked away. Bills. Credit cards. The kids' school. The kids go to public school now. Vanessa pulled Chloe out of private school 2 years ago. His face flushed. Okay, fine. We had some debt. We were trying to pay it down. How much debt? I don't know exactly. Guess. He ran a hand through his hair. Maybe 10,000? 15? It's under control. I pulled out my phone and opened the photo I'd taken that morning. It was a credit report I'd pulled using a service Rebecca had recommended. Vanessa's name, multiple accounts, all in collections. I showed it to Ryan. $23,000, I said. 5 credit cards all maxed out, 2 store cards, a personal loan from some online lender charging 30% interest. Ryan stared at the screen. His face went pale. Where did you get this? Does it matter? Did you know about this? No, He trailed off. Vanessa handles the finances. Apparently, not very well. He stood up, started pacing. This doesn't make sense. She said we were fine. She said her commissions were covering everything. When's the last time you saw a pay stub from her job? He stopped. I don't know. A few months? Try 2 years. She hasn't closed a sale since October 2022. Ryan sat back down heavily. How do you know that? Public records. Real estate transactions are public in Ohio. I looked it up. I leaned forward. Ryan, Vanessa has been lying to you. She's been taking my money and spending it. She forged my signature to sell Frank's car a second time and pocketed $8,500. She's been draining my account for months. No. He shook his head. Vanessa wouldn't do that. I have the bank statements. I have the forged title. I have a lawyer who says it's fraud. His face crumbled. For a moment, he looked like a child again. Lost. Scared. What am I supposed to do? You're supposed to face the truth, I said. Your wife is a liar and a thief. And you let her do it because it was easier than standing up to her. That's not fair. Fair? I stood up. You want to talk about fair? I gave you everything. I sold my husband's car to pay for Mason's surgery. I worked extra shifts so you could take a cruise. I lived in a 400-square-foot apartment and ate ramen for dinner so you could have a nice house in a good neighborhood. And on Christmas, your wife handed me a bucket and you told me I eat for free. Ryan's eyes filled with tears. I didn't mean it like that. How did you mean it? He didn't answer. He just sat there, crying quietly. I wanted to comfort him, wanted to hug him and tell him everything would be okay. But I couldn't. Because everything wasn't okay. And it hadn't been for a long time. You need to leave, I said. Mom, now. I'm done talking. He stood up slowly, wiping his face with his sleeve. At the door, he turned back. What about the house? The payment? That's your problem now. You and Vanessa. Figure it out. He left. I watched him drive away. Evelyn came and stood next to me. That was hard, she said. It had to be done. My phone buzzed. A text from a number I didn't recognize. This is Ryan, using Vanessa's phone because she took mine. I confronted her about the credit cards. She admitted it. Said she was going to tell me but never found the right time. I don't know what to believe anymore. Another text came through. She says you're trying to destroy our family, that you've been poisoning me against her. Is that true? I typed back. Ask her about the forged signature on your father's car title. Ask her where the $8,500 went, then decide who's destroying your family. I turned off my phone and put it in my pocket. Evelyn made tea. We sat in the kitchen and didn't talk. Outside, snow started falling. Big, fat flakes, the kind that stick to everything. 3 days later, Evelyn showed me her phone. Vanessa had posted on Instagram again. A photo of her and Ryan, his arm around her shoulders, both smiling. The caption, "Stronger together." Some people try to tear you down, but real love survives. Marriage goals, together forever. Family strong, 8,000 likes. But I noticed something. Ryan's smile didn't reach his eyes, and his hand on Vanessa's shoulder looked tense, stiff, like he was holding on out of obligation, not love. The cracks were showing. And soon, the whole thing would fall apart. Ryan found Vanessa's second phone on February 12th. He told me later it had fallen out of her gym bag when he was looking for his car keys. A cheap prepaid phone, the kind you buy at Walmart with cash. No contacts saved under real names. Just initials. MJD and one that said R. He opened the messages from R. The first one was from January 20th. Miss you already. Last night was perfect. Vanessa's reply. I know. Wish we didn't have to sneak around. Soon, though. R. How soon? You keep saying that. Vanessa. After the inheritance comes through, Ryan's mom won't last forever. She's almost 70. Ryan told me he threw up after reading that. He sat on the bathroom floor for 20 minutes trying to process it. Then he went through the rest of the messages. There were dozens, some going back to November, plans to meet, hotels, compliments about Vanessa's body, references to a future together once she was free. The most recent message was from February 10th, 2 days ago. R. What's the hold up? I thought you said she was going to give you the house. Vanessa. It's complicated. She's being difficult. But Ryan's starting to see things my way. Once we get the house back, we sell it, split the money, and I'm done. R. You keep saying you're leaving him. When? Vanessa. Soon, I promise. I just need to secure things first. Ryan confronted her that night. I wasn't there, but he called me the next morning and told me everything. His voice was flat, emotionless, like he'd cried himself out. She didn't even deny it at first, he said. She just looked at me like I was the one being unreasonable, like I didn't have a right to be upset. What did she say? That it was my fault, that I'd been cold to her for years, that she needed someone who appreciated her. He laughed, bitter. She said she was going to tell me after things were settled with you, after we got the house back. The house is in my name, Ryan. There's nothing to get back. I know that now. He was quiet for a moment. She's been using me, using us, the whole time. I'm sorry, I said. And I meant it. Even after everything, he was still my son. And hearing him break like this hurt. I told her I wanted a divorce. My stomach dropped. What did she say? She laughed, said I didn't have the guts. Then she said if I tried to leave her, she'd take Chloe and Mason and I'd never see them again. She said no judge would give me custody when I can't even afford a house. She's bluffing. Is she? Mom, I don't have anything. No savings. My credit is destroyed. The house is in your name. She's right. What judge is going to side with me? I didn't have an answer. We sat in silence on the phone. I could hear him breathing, ragged and uneven. What do I do? He asked. You talk to a lawyer. You document everything. You keep that phone as evidence. She already took it back. She found it in my jacket pocket this morning and grabbed it, smashed it with a hammer in the driveway, said I had no right to go through her private things. Of course she did. I closed my eyes. Ryan, you need to get out of that house. I can't leave the kids with her. Then take them with you. Where? I don't have anywhere to go. Before I could answer, there was a sound in the background. Vanessa's voice, sharp and angry. Ryan said something I couldn't make out. Then the line went dead. He didn't call back. That afternoon, my phone rang. Gary. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Patty, what the hell are you doing? No greeting, no pleasantries. Excuse me? You're tearing this family apart. Ryan called me this morning. He's a mess. Vanessa's threatening to leave. The kids are confused and scared. All because you can't let go of a grudge. A grudge? I kept my voice level. Gary, Vanessa forged my signature. She stole my money. She's having an affair and planning to divorce Ryan as soon as she gets her hands on my house. So what? Marriages have problems. That's between them. You don't get to destroy everything because your feelings got hurt. My feelings got hurt. I stood up, pacing Evelyn's living room. She handed me a bucket on Christmas and told me to clean. Ryan told me I eat for free. And you laughed. It was a joke, Patty. You've always been too sensitive. It wasn't a joke to me. Gary sighed, exasperated. Look, I know Vanessa's not perfect, but she's trying. She's under a lot of stress. And now you're cutting off their money, threatening to take the house. You're being vindictive. Did you know about the credit cards? I asked. The $23,000 in debt? Silence. You knew, I said. Vanessa told Ruth a few months ago, said they were working on it. And you didn't think to tell me? While I was sending them $1,400 a month? It wasn't my place. But it's your place to call me now and tell me I'm destroying the family? Someone has to be the adult here, Gary said, and it's clearly not going to be you. I hung up. My hands were shaking again. Evelyn came into the room, took one look at my face, and put the kettle on. Gary? She asked. He knew. They all knew. I sat down at the kitchen table. Ruth, Gary, probably half the family. They knew Vanessa was lying, stealing, and they said nothing. They let me keep giving money because it was easier than dealing with her. Evelyn set a mug of tea in front of me. People don't like confrontation, especially in families. It's easier to let someone else be the villain. I'm not the villain. I know that, but they need you to be. Otherwise, they have to admit they enabled this. At 9:30 that night, someone knocked on Evelyn's door. I looked out the window. Ryan's SUV was in the driveway. I opened the door. Ryan stood there in a t-shirt and jeans, no coat, even though it was 20 degrees outside. His eyes were red. She kicked me out, he said. What happened? I told her I knew about the affair. I told her I wanted her to leave. She said no, the house is hers. And if anyone's leaving, it's me. So I left. He looked at me. Can I come in? I stepped aside. He walked past me into the living room and sank onto the couch. Evelyn came downstairs in her bathrobe, took one look at the situation, and went back up. I heard her bedroom door close. Where are Chloe and Mason? I asked. With her. She said if I tried to take them, she'd call the cops and say I was kidnapping them. She can't do that. Can't she? He looked up at me. Mom, I don't know what's real anymore. I thought we were building a life together. I thought she loved me. But tonight, when I confronted her about everything, about the debt, the affair, the lies, you know what she said? What? She said she only married me because she thought I'd inherit money from you and Dad. She said she waited 6 years for Dad to die, and all she got was a dead-end husband and 2 kids she never wanted. His voice broke. She said the only reason she stayed was because she thought you'd eventually give us the house, that you'd die or go to a nursing home and we'd get everything. I sat down next to him. Ryan, I'm so sorry. I should have seen it. All the signs were there, but I didn't want to see them. I wanted to believe everything was fine. He wiped his eyes. I'm just like you. I kept giving and giving, hoping it would be enough. But it never was. What are you going to do? I don't know. I don't have money for a lawyer. I don't have anywhere to live. I can't even afford to feed myself right now. He looked at me. I know I don't deserve to ask, but can you help me? One more time? I thought about the bucket, the Instagram posts, the forged signature, the $53,000, the 4 years of lies. I thought about Vanessa's message. Once we get the house back, we sell it, split the money, and I'm done. I thought about Chloe and Mason, stuck in that house with a mother who didn't want them. I'll help you, I said, but on my terms. No more lies, no more excuses. You do exactly what I tell you to do. Anything. First, you're going to call Rebecca Marsh tomorrow morning. She's a lawyer. She'll help you file for divorce and fight for custody. Second, you're going to document everything. Every conversation with Vanessa. Every threat. Every lie. Third, you're going to move out of that house and let me handle it. Handle it how? That house is in my name, which means I can evict Vanessa. I can take it back, and then I can decide what to do with it. Ryan's eyes widened. You'd do that? For my grandchildren? Yes. For you? I paused. We'll see. He nodded slowly. Okay, thank you. Don't thank me yet. This is going to get ugly. He stood up to leave. At the door, he turned back. Mom, I'm sorry. For everything. For the bucket. For what I said. For not seeing what was happening. I know, I said. But sorry doesn't fix it. Actions do. After he left, I called Rebecca and left a voicemail. Then I sat in the dark living room, thinking about what came next. The confrontation. The eviction. The custody battle. The final reckoning. Vanessa thought she'd won. But she didn't know who she was dealing with. She'd underestimated me for years. Thought I was weak. Thought I'd always bend. She was about to learn otherwise. The eviction notice was served on February 20th. A sheriff's deputy knocked on the door at 9 a.m. and handed Vanessa the papers. She had 30 days to vacate. Ryan wasn't there. He'd been staying in a motel near the highway, The kind that charged by the week and had a flickering neon sign that said vacancy, even though half the letters were burned out. Vanessa called me that afternoon. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail. Her voice was shrill, panicked. "You can't do this, Patty. This is Ryan's house. The kids live here. You're going to make them homeless. What kind of grandmother does that?" I deleted it without listening to the whole thing. Rebecca had filed the eviction paperwork 3 days earlier. It was straightforward. The house was mine. Vanessa had no legal right to be there. The judge signed the order without hesitation. But Vanessa didn't go quietly. She posted on Instagram again, a photo of Chloe and Mason sitting on the front steps, looking sad. The caption, "Heartbroken. My mother-in-law is evicting us. My children will be homeless because of her cruelty. Please pray for us. Single mom, homeless, family betrayal." 12,000 likes, hundreds of comments, most supportive. Some calling me a monster, a few asking questions, pointing out inconsistencies in her story. One comment stood out. It was from someone named Jennifer Alvarez. "Vanessa, you sold my parents' house in 2022 and never disclosed the foundation issues. We lost $40K in repairs. You blocked me when I tried to reach out. Interesting that you're playing the victim now." Other comments followed. More people Vanessa had wronged, clients she'd lied to, friends she'd used. The narrative started to shift. By the next morning, the post had been taken down. On March 1st, Vanessa's real estate license was suspended pending an ethics investigation. Someone had filed a complaint about fraudulent disclosures on past sales. Rebecca told me it wasn't related to my case, but the timing was convenient. Karma, Evelyn called it. Without a job, Vanessa couldn't fight the eviction. She tried to delay, filed a motion claiming hardship, but the judge denied it. On March 15th, she moved out. I wasn't there, but Ryan told me she took everything she could carry. Furniture, dishes, even the curtains. She left the rest in piles on the floor. The house was mine again. I walked through it 2 days later with Evelyn. It smelled like stale air and disappointment. The walls had holes where pictures used to hang. The kitchen cabinets were empty. In the master bedroom, someone had written on the wall in black marker, "Hope you're happy now." I stood there staring at it. Evelyn put her hand on my shoulder. "You okay?" "I don't know." "You did the right thing." "Did I?" I looked at her. "I took away my son's home. I made my grandchildren move. I destroyed a family." "You didn't destroy anything, Patty. Vanessa did. You just stopped letting her get away with it." I wanted to believe her. But standing in that empty house, all I felt was tired. Ryan filed for divorce on March 20th. Rebecca represented him. Vanessa hired a lawyer, some guy who advertised on bus benches. The custody battle was brutal. Vanessa claimed Ryan was unstable, that I'd manipulated him. She brought up the eviction, said it proved Ryan couldn't provide for the kids. But Rebecca had evidence. The forged title, the bank statements showing stolen money, the messages from the second phone, which Ryan had screenshotted before Vanessa destroyed it. The affair, the debt, the lies. On April 10th, the judge awarded Ryan temporary custody. Chloe and Mason would live with him. Vanessa got supervised visitation every other weekend. Ryan couldn't afford an apartment on his own. His credit was destroyed. He'd been fired from his job in March for missing too many days. So I made him an offer. He could live in the house, the one I now owned, rent-free. But there were conditions. He had to get therapy. He had to find a job. He had to prove he could stand on his own. He agreed. By May, Ryan and the kids had moved in. I helped them clean, paint the walls, cover the message Vanessa had left. We bought used furniture from Goodwill. Chloe picked out new curtains. Mason chose paint colors for his room. Slowly, the house started to feel like a home again. I didn't move back in. I stayed at Evelyn's. The distance felt necessary. Ryan needed to figure out how to be a father without me hovering. And I needed to figure out who I was beyond someone's mother, someone's ATM. Vanessa moved in with her sister in Cleveland. The ethics investigation concluded in June. Her real estate license was revoked. Last I heard, she was working at a clothing store in a mall. The same mall where she used to shop, buying $300 purses with my money. Ryan started therapy in July. He got a job at a call center in August, night shift, minimum wage plus commission. It wasn't much, but it was honest work. He'd pick up the kids from school, make them dinner, help with homework, then head to work at 11. I watched them some nights, not because he asked, but because I wanted to. Chloe struggled. She'd stopped talking to Vanessa after finding out about the affair. Mason didn't understand why they couldn't live with both parents. Ryan did his best, but some nights I could see the exhaustion in his face, the weight of trying to hold it all together. In October, 6 months after the eviction, Ryan called and asked if I'd come to dinner. Just me, him, and the kids. Nothing fancy. Spaghetti and garlic bread. I said yes. I drove to the house on a Saturday evening. The porch light was on. Someone had planted mums in the flower beds, bright orange and yellow. I knocked even though Ryan had told me to just come in. He answered the door. He looked different, thinner but healthier. His eyes were clear. "Mom, come in." The house smelled like garlic and tomato sauce. Mason ran up and hugged me. He'd grown 2 inches since March. Chloe waved from the couch where she was doing homework. She was quieter than she used to be, more guarded. But she smiled when she saw me. We ate at the kitchen table. Ryan had set it with mismatched plates and paper napkins. The spaghetti was overcooked, but no one cared. Mason told me about his soccer team. Chloe showed me a drawing she'd done for art class. Ryan talked about his job, how he'd gotten Employee of the Month and earned an extra $200. After dinner, I helped wash dishes. Ryan stood next to me, drying. "Thank you for coming," he said. "Of course. I know things are still complicated between us, but I want you to know I'm trying to be better, to be the son you deserved." I handed him a plate. "You don't have to be perfect, Ryan. You just have to be honest." "I'm learning that." Chloe came into the kitchen. She stood in the doorway, fidgeting with her sleeves. "Grandma, can I ask you something?" "Sure, sweetheart." "Do you still love us?" The question hit me hard. I set down the dish I was holding and turned to her. "Of course I do. I never stopped. But you took away our house. You made Mom leave. Dad said it was because of money, but..." She trailed off. "It feels like you were mad at us, too." I walked over and knelt down in front of her. My knees protested, but I ignored them. "Chloe, I wasn't mad at you, or Mason, or even your dad, not really. I was mad at myself for letting things get so bad. And yes, I was mad at your mom for lying. But I never stopped loving you. Do you understand that?" She nodded, eyes shining. "I miss how things used to be, before everything got messed up." "Me too," I said. "But we can't go back. We can only move forward. Do you think we can be a family again?" I looked at Ryan. He was watching us, dish towel in his hands. "I think we're trying," I said. "And trying is a start." Later, after the kids went to bed, Ryan walked me to my car. The night was cool, clear, stars visible for the first time in weeks. "I don't expect you to forgive me," he said. "Not yet, maybe not ever. But I want you to know I see it now. Everything you did for us. Everything you sacrificed. I took it for granted. I let Vanessa take advantage of you, and I'm sorry. I know you are. Is that enough?" I thought about the bucket, the Instagram posts, the forged signature, the $53,000, the 4 years of humiliation. "I don't know yet," I said honestly, "but I'm willing to find out." He nodded. "That's more than I deserve." I got in my car. Before I pulled away, I rolled down the window. "Ryan, one more thing." "Yeah?" "That bucket Vanessa gave me on Christmas. I still have it. I'm going to donate it to Goodwill. Let someone else get some use out of it." He laughed. It was a real laugh, not bitter or broken. "That seems right." I drove back to Evelyn's house. She was waiting up, reading in her chair. "How'd it go?" "Better than I expected." I sat down next to her. Chloe asked if I still loved them. "What did you say?" "That I never stopped. But love isn't enough. There has to be trust too, and respect." Evelyn closed her book. "Do you think you'll get there with Ryan?" "Maybe. Someday." I looked at her. "But I'm not in a hurry. For the first time in 4 years, I'm not rushing to fix everything. I'm just letting it be." Good, Evelyn said. You deserve that. That night I slept better than I had in months. No phone calls, no emergencies, no one needing me to save them. Just quiet. The next morning I woke up and made coffee. I sat at Evelyn's kitchen table and thought about the future. The house was still mine. Ryan was renting it from me now, $50 a month. Symbolic. I'd started looking at small apartments, one-bedrooms with good light. Something just for me. My phone buzzed. A text from Ryan. A photo of Mason and Chloe making pancakes, flour everywhere, both grinning. The caption, "Thought you'd want to see this." I smiled, sent back a heart emoji. Then I put my phone down and finished my coffee. Outside, the sun was rising. A new day. Not perfect, not fixed, but possible. And for now, that was enough.